Hello and welcome. As promised, this is the follow-up video to show the projects I was talking about and trying to raise funds for such things. Anyway, you may hear some wind sounds. It's phenomenal the speed the cloud is moving in the sky high up. Incidentally, earlier today I stood in this very position and the wind was coming towards me, which would be a southerly wind. But the clouds were moving either as they are now, going east, or heading to the south. So there had been a northerly wind or a westerly wind, and it's like that's an unusual experience. Anyway, the winds are far less than they were on pretty much all day Monday and overnight and into Tuesday, and then it even started up on the Wednesday morning, which sort of prevented me making the video. So as expected, the the wind has been quite a vandal and has just shredded the canvas covering, but that was not unexpected. But apart from that, the thing's held. It did shift the frame back, but it's not sunk in the ground. It just rests on stones, and it's oil-soaked timbers to prevent them from rotting and prolong their life. It's all sort of made up of reused, recycled pieces anyway. So that's good that that's held. So I think it's something like €12 to get a cover. A canvas that will be a one piece, which could then be tied down and wouldn't have this problem happen again. Plus this one was leaking a bit anyway, but it's something to be addressed. I'll just give you an example of another project. Again, I'm going to have to split this video because the location of the other parts I want to show you are so far away that even if I pause the video, the phone are cut out. But I'll do a little walking tour and we'll try and get to one of the things. But I'll show you a water reservoir tank that has been finished to give you an idea to start with. So here, for example, is a constructed tank which has got water inside it. I don't know how well this will show, but it's this waterproof cement. It's not very dear, but it needs funding. So I was going to say, anybody that does give any donations, if you wish to, then do specify if it is for community projects. And of course, the buildings need some attention. I've done some repairs with earth clay, but it ideally needs a cement rendering, and I'd love to get a masonry paint and have all three buildings looking like they're looked after and maintained, rather than looking like they're dilapidated and falling apart. Prevention being better than cure, than sort of weathering problems becoming worse. So that's another thing. So it'd be bags of cement, masonry paints, paintbrushes as well even. So we're going on a little walking tour. Oh, incidentally, hopefully you can see it through there, but give you an idea, this was a sort of overgrowth that had just swamped the terraces. So those beds, you can see, they've now got potatoes in. I've been doing a lot of clearing preparation work using the sort of mulch that is produced here. Clearing this area, which will probably be for peppers and tomatoes, things that like full sun, because all this was completely overgrown the other day. So, and likewise the beds I've featured before sort of formed the beds, but of course this sort of wild sort of clover or whatever it is, it's just so prolific, but it does die down and it produces a lovely mulch, and the bees love it because it's that lovely bright yellow. So it's holding the soil as much as anything, so it's serving a purpose. There's no point me doing anything until I'm going to use that bed. So that's the sort of guiding line on what I do. But of course this is where the teepee was, and I've cleared this several times and it just keeps growing back, just keeping it down, creating compost with it. Anyway, so that's lovely, all in flower. Again, more clearing going on down here. Just trying to keep it tidy, trying to keep the walkways in place. But we've got quite a long walk along the valley to the reservoir tank that I wish to show you. It's huge. We've got one main tank. They're basically built out of earth clay, made up with earth clay sides built up into walls, and then coated in that waterproof cement. See, this is the piece I'd started in November and into December, when it was almost like a second spring, but of course it's grown back already. But there's still some good things here. There's cabbage still growing, so I've got cabbages, so cabbage leaves every now and again, and fruit trees and things. But this whole lower area in the summer could ideally do with its own water supply. This has got so much potential. And oh wow, the lovely blue on these flowers and things. It's been a while since I walked up here. Well, to anybody's walked up here, but that's another project, is just keeping the pathway defined to find a way through this stuff, because it's sort of losing it already. But it is beautiful when you encounter all these wild flowers. You see, even with community living, I mean, if you look at what nature does, if you want to grow things, you've got to clear spaces. So obviously there's a certain amount of destruction involved in the process of creation, because we are in this realm of duality. There was a path here, honestly. Let's see how far, because we're almost there. Yes. Wow, this really has become overgrown. Yeah, gonna have to clear this bramble. But let's get up this bit here. Now, although you can't see it, there is the stream down there, and I've got to be careful where I stand here. Oh, it's doing rather well. We've got the well there, quite a lot of water in it, and there's the pipe there, and sort of gravity feed, and this has the makings of becoming a tank. Obviously it needs the cement, waterproof cement, and it all needs clearing of these weeds. But this would then supply water for all this lower valley. Wow, I'm quite out of breath after all that. Yes, so as promised, this is what I wanted to show you. We've got another tank way up there, which is fed by a pipe that goes all the way up. So this is a minimal distance, and it wouldn't take much to get the water flowing and fill this up once it's all sealed and then becomes operational, which would really help with the watering of things when we get into the summer. So it's a sort of a reasonable high priority sort of activity here amongst many others, and just keeping on top of things and balancing it with having to go into the outside world and everything. So I thought I'd just share the sort of update with you. Don't want to make this too long, so if nothing else, I hope you've enjoyed the little walking tour and a sort of glimpse of this beautiful valley, this huge potential of this area. and there's so much still that can be done with it and turned into a place of abundance, and it's something I really wish to see fulfilled. It's certainly something I've visioned, and it's almost a year so far, and it's like I've come this far and there's no turning back. It's onwards and upwards and keep going with this. At the end of the day, I'm just proving this to myself, what is possible, what isn't possible, and really that, I feel, is something that we're all facing. It's finding out who we are, and oh wow, a sort of nature distraction here. I thought, what a lovely flower. That's absolutely beautiful. I don't want to step on it, so we'll try and work our way around it. No harm done. And some other lovely ones here. Yeah, so it's all about finding out who we are and making this experience between birth and death into something far more pleasurable, something far more agreeable, something that's far more in harmony and beneficial to each of us individually, collectively, and done in a way that is not harmful to nature. But of course, when we're growing food, we are sort of becoming those intermediaries, so it's like, well, I've ripped out a load of things that would have grown, so I take responsibility and I've become the intermediary because I'm planting something else there. So it's seeing it through, and this is something I refer you to the playlist Dr. Joseph Murphy. There's a lovely video, it's an audio book or a reading. It's called Don't Be Disheartened, and it's a good one to turn to. It's the same message that Neville Goddard says, although Neville Goddard would express it as seeing it through to the end. It's the same thing. It's having that self-confidence, that self-belief, and sheer determination and willpower, the ability to co-create from a place of love. Putting something positive into this reality which will balance out this so-called tilt of the earth. So it's staying neutral to things, but also injecting a bit of positivity into the world energetically. And from my experience, it does make a huge difference. And you'll know it by, it's in the feeling, how you feel about things, which is obviously from your perception of this reality. What is it really here for? What are we here to do? What is our real purpose? Who really are we? This is all what this is all about, going through this experience. So this has gone on far longer than originally intended. Got oranges nearly ripe and lemons in abundance. They're nearly ripe as well, so nature is just reflecting the signs are looking good, so let's roll with this. Love to you all.